So, my name is Ralph Kasnoff Bey. And I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I moved around a lot during my years until now.
My name is Chinyere Osuji. I'm originally from the Bronx, New York. I moved down to Miami from the Bronx a few years ago. That's where I met my husband, and we've been together ever since.
I want to make clear that me and my wife are professional people, and we're both college educated.
We came here with funds, savings. We came here with a lot of things in place, and we came here for business. No, we did not come from America to Puerto Rico to be on cuponas, but that happened in the process.
Right.
No, you don't come here to get, those services, but if you need them, and if your situation...
Not just that, but it's also the experience of Puerto Ricans that go from here to
the Americas. What we found is, once you are in the social services, you are to be demonized. You are to be thought as uneducated. You are to be thought as unable to fend for yourself, provide for yourself. You're in a place where people feel like they can take advantage of you. In our situation, we went to apply for WIC. And it just so happened that my husband's mother worked for WIC, and that's how he was raised. So in addition to working for WIC, she was very much a community leader. She definitely did community service. She was a nutritionist. That's how he was raised from young. So when this woman was telling us certain things, we already had knowledge and resources to double check some of the things that she was saying. But maybe if my husband's mother hadn't worked for WIC, we wouldn't have thought to say,
let's check the anthropometric.
No, let's check the anthropometric, something very specific that most people wouldn't know what to
explain to most people what that is.
What happens is when you take your child to WIC, they, especially if it's like a baby or under, maybe I believe 2 to 5. Maybe 2 years under. If it's 2 years and under, they weigh. I'm not sure above 2 years. I don't think they weigh the child after that, but definitely an infant between the ages of 0 to 24 months, their child is weighed. You take your child to WIC, your child is weighed. They take their height, weight, fundal, circumference things. Their head circumference, things like that. Then they enter that information to what they call a WIC anthropometrics guide. When they then put that into the system, it'll chart your child's growth, and then from there you'll be able to get a general, and that's what we want to put out there. It's a general idea of how you should grow.
There has to be, I guess, depending on whatever child is put in there, some sort of ideal measurement that they've had established
exactly
for, I guess, nutrition purposes or just whatever they feel is. Okay.
So, and like you said, it's some type of ideal standard that they have. With that, it also, when you think about it, to create a chart of growth, there has to be then some starting point that they would have in mind to create this chart and, end point.
Right.
Our son was 5.2 pounds when he was born. He was perfectly healthy, had no issues. He was born at 37 weeks. And we were discharged from the hospital a day and a half later. He was 4.5 pounds.
Okay.
He didn't, like I said, have any issues. He was just small, and the doctor advised us.
He was born here, in my way.
Yes, he was born here in my way.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And they advised us, he was perfectly healthy. He would lose a little weight when he's learning to latch, but he'd be perfectly fine and go on, about our way.
Yeah, very high
APGAR.
Very high APGAR score.
He took the APGAR test.
9.5. Okay.
Yes. He took the hearing and the other tests. He was also tested for genetic diseases by the neonatal clinic.
Blessed baby.
Wrong. Exactly. So we were aware of his health, and he was fine, but he was just a little, what they call chiquitito. Chiquito. So, which is fine.
That's a little, as they label preemie.
Okay.
But he was a little small, but he
was born a preemie,
he was born under 40 weeks.
Yeah.
He was born 37 weeks, so he's not technically a preemie.
Okay.
But he's still
All right, but he's small. He was small,
but he was fine.
Yeah. Okay.
When the woman was weighing him, she didn't take any of these things into consideration. Why the WIC anthropometrics is important is because WIC specifically technically states that if a child, any child, no matter how much they weigh, their height, anything, is 37 weeks or less, you would have to adjust their age. And what that means is if you have a child, they were born at 37 weeks, let's say, and you take them to WIC at 1 month, they would subtract 3 weeks from the child's age. So because like I said, that's 37 weeks, that's 3 weeks minus 3 weeks shy of 40. So when you're charting, if your child was 4 weeks, they would say subtract the amount of weeks from 40, let's say it was 3, and they would then chart your child that's technically 4 weeks old at a child that is 1 week old, because you subtracted.
All right.
Now let's input that information right there into the chart. If you're telling somebody to weigh a 4-week-old and adjust the age to what would be a 1-week-old, well, a 1-week-old and a 4-week-old, that's a huge weight difference.
It should be.
That's a huge growth difference. So essentially, we brought our child in at 2 months. She should have adjusted my son's age to what would be 3 weeks short of that. So instead of saying he was 2 months, she should have weighed him as 1 month and 1 week.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Which is a difference. There's a difference between a 1-month-old in weight and a difference between a 2-month-old in weight.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of growth that should have been adjusted. That was never adjusted.
Absolutely.
We took him. We took him twice, but it was in a span of 1 month. So February, March.
Okay.
So again, in March when we took him, he was 3 months old. He should have been weighed as a 2-month-old, not a 3-month-old. When you're doing that weight adjustments, those weight adjustments were never made, and that's why we feel like WIC has to be accountable at some point, because this is a major.
You say that you asked for that. And when you asked for that, what was their response?
We asked and she refused. When we asked, to be honest, she seemed like she didn't know she was supposed to adjust this weight. Yeah. So essentially what happened was she weighed him the first time. She didn't say anything about his weight, so he didn't appear to her at, like, let's say you see a child and maybe you feel a child looks unwell or something like that. That wasn't her initial reaction to our son. Her initial reaction was, he's cute, he's little. And like I said, we know our son was a little small because everywhere, ay, chiquitito, pequeño, we know what small means.
Right.
So, but we've never got like, oh my God, that baby needs to eat. It was all like, oh my God, he's so little,
What was the weight that was in terms of the disparagement? I don't know if you could, that actually occurred.
So what she told us was our son weighed 7.6 pounds and should be weighing 8.5. And we should take him to the emergency room for that right now at this moment. So of course, and then I think people have to see this, because I don't know how things come out in the media. Things may be sensationalized or not enough information. Absolutely. But I just want to, first of all, we're first-time parents, but we're people and things make sense. People have common sense.
Now, the language difference. Is the person assigned to you able to communicate in full English with you at this point?
So I will say this. The woman communicated with us in English, but I think it's a difference between being able to say, how you doing? Okay, your baby's little, and being able to explain your child isn't charting well on the chart. It's digress. Yes. It's an increase. The language is different when you have to use certain kind of terminology, and she didn't have the...
Because I'm sure you demanded that information.
We asked for that information, but she didn't have the terminology to explain that.
There might have been a lack of communication in terms of...
There most definitely was.
Misunderstandings in terms of communication, on top of whatever biases there might have existed.
And I believe too, there was a level of frustration when she wasn't able to articulate herself in English. But even with that, if she couldn't articulate, if she couldn't communicate, she should have then referred us to somebody who could. She could have got us a translator. She should have gave us documents in English.
Even with all this, right? The difference in weight is not even a pound, right?
Exactly.
So this was the reason.
This is what she said to take my child.
Was there anything else that was said? So she's telling you this, she's breaking you the news that she has to take your child because he doesn't weigh almost a pound, and that
exactly.
And also the fact that we were choosing our own a practical medical doctor, pediatrician to take him to.
Okay.
And we were sorting out which doctors we wanted to, start him with.
Okay.
And he had just turned 3 months.
This was at 2 months. This is the first time at 2 months.
My goodness.
So
yes, man. What do you mean?
It's crazy, but also when you say are there other things, when she was expressing this to us, of course the conversation of how he's being fed came up, and we told her he's exclusively breastfed. She said, "Oh my God, no! You need to take him off breast now. Give him formula.
She said this to you.
Yes, put him on." This is what she said.
You have to put.
She said, "You are having a problem lactating. Your milk is insufficient. You need to put him on formula right now and take him to the doctor."
Okay.
This person was not a healthcare professional, a medical professional. She was not a nurse. She was not a lactation specialist.
Did she refer you to one, or did she?
She did not. So we were with her for about 2.5 hours. In that 2.5 hours, she was expressing to me that my breast milk is insufficient. I'm having lactation issues. I was never examined for her to make these determinations.
Yeah, like
she just said, your baby's little. You must have a lactation problem. Just take him off the breast right now.
Okay.
Supplement him with infant formula. And we expressed to her, I breastfeed him and I also do have a vegetarian diet. I've been a vegetarian for years. Okay, well, this is all that WIC offers.
So WIC,
take it or leave it.
So she's pretty much telling you that WIC doesn't have an option for individuals that choose to live a vegan lifestyle.
Exactly.
And raise their children in that particular way.
In their form of manner.
And so just to clear one thing up, because you did ask me, we were there for about 2.5 hours. When we were exiting, the lactation coordinator came in. And then she said, here's a lactation coordinator. Okay, well, feed your child right now so we can see if you can breastfeed. It wasn't a consultation. It was more like a challengement.
On the spot.
Here's a lactation coordinator. Sure. Breastfeed your baby right in front of us to prove you can feed him. That's kind of what it was.
My wife came in the office feeding him.
But I was feeding him throughout the time because within 2.5 hours, my child is hungry. But this was the first time we came into the office. There was never a follow-up call. There was never a follow-up email. There was never a follow-up letter. Mm-hmm. And then the second time we came in, she still didn't give us any referral. The lactation coordinator wasn't available at that day either. And she didn't even mention a lactation person the next time. The next time, she just said, I need to weigh your baby right now.
So what happened? This is the second time?
This is the second time, and our final encounter actually trying to get services. She said, I need to weigh your baby right now. As soon as I got there, I said, all right, well, I don't necessarily have a problem with you weighing my son, but I want to know, is this mandatory? Is this something you want to do? Because from what I know, you only have to weigh the child during certification periods, and this is not a certification period. In fact, I just had him weighed last month. Mm-hmm. So what would I need to weigh? Why are you weighing him again? Well, I can weigh the baby whenever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can weigh your baby. So I'm good. You need to let me weigh him right now, or you can't pick up your WIC checks. So I'm just like, I don't have time. Okay, whatever. Wow. Like, weigh my child, because we keep our measurements anyway, as parents. So
still, though, it's an uncomfortable and tough situation.
So she takes my child to weigh him. At 3 months, he's starting to roll a little bit, so he's kind of rolled over into the side. I'm trying to adjust him. She's just quickly taking the measurements, and I'm telling her, he's not fully on his. Let me calm him down so he can be weighed correctly. She just quickly took everything. She then takes the measurements. We go into her office, and she enters the information, and she says he's even more severely underweight now. I said, okay. What are you saying he's weighing? She said he weighs 8 pounds now, and he should be weighing way more than 8 pounds. And I said, okay, well,
this is after we asked her to reweigh him. After
exactly.
We both seen 8.7.
8.7. We saw 8.7. We asked her to reweigh him like 3 times. She said no. Took us into the office. Said he's even more severely weighed.
So you saw 8.7 on the scale.
Exactly. Of course. We asked her to reweigh him again. She said no. We told her we saw that the scale said 8.7 pounds, and she's deliberately deliberately putting 8 pounds down, and we know that information is incorrect. She says she won't reweigh him. So we moved on to the other measurements, and I said, okay, well, last time we were here, you said my son's head was 42 centimeters. Right now, you're saying my son's head is 39 centimeters. Since when do heads shrink? 3 inches. You need to reweigh my child. And she refused. This all is documented. So she intentionally wanting to create a red flag. Because even if you felt like you weighed my child correctly at 8 pounds, a parent shouldn't have to ask you 3, 4, 5 times to reweigh the child, and you're adamantly saying no.
And the whole time, this is still the only reason, because, people might think that it's I don't know how, like a big deal this way, but it's really not something that a child should be taken away from a parent for.
Exactly.
Like at the end of the day.
Are you serious?
You have to remember, this is where you're getting food from, WIC. So if there is a concern about a child, that's the place that you're trying to solve the problem at. So there could have been far more resources given to us as if there was a genuine concern.
Why not help the situation as opposed to break a family up?
Exactly. There's so many things.
Why not consider his father is a personal chef?
Exactly.
And he go and cook for people for his business all day long, but he gonna come home and not feed his family. Make sure my newborn baby don't have the proper nutrition. It's absurd.
There's something that's unexplainable in just deciding that somehow you just break up a family because a child doesn't weigh. Well, the second time, it doesn't even matter the disparagement of weight, because it's not what she put down, but just that itself, because that's unfortunately that's what most people have. That's the question. Is there any? There has to be something else.
There has to be something else.
There has to be something else. Sometimes people think that it gets lost in the language.
What I want to say about something else is this, without being too explicit, but I'll say this explicitly. Our son was taken. We have no criminal charges pending against us, and we never have from the beginning. Anything that could be something else, well, the something else that we know or we assume people are probably thinking about would probably be something criminal. We don't have those things in our case. So then it lies that, okay, well, if it's nothing criminal, what could the something else be to get your child taken away from you? Well, what could the something else be?
The something else could be on the other side of the people that are doing the taking away.
We have to thank the overwhelming amount of love and support that we've gotten from so many people, because that is a key factor in getting Messiah home quickly and safely.
Thank you to everyone.
What I want to also say, and that is, there are people, there are families, there are children whose names are not mentioned on radio. They're not mentioned in newspaper. They're not circulating around their neighborhoods. They're not on social media. The question is, when are those children coming home? Because they don't have a platform. And this media attention, people getting, this happened in about 2-3 days. But we were in a black hole
because
with no support for months. This happened
on a late Thursday or earlier Friday morning. It was started on Thursday evening and ended in, me and my wife walking back barefoot to our home, being released from the police station on no charges, not knowing where our son was.
Wait, they arrested you guys?
Yeah. Our son was removed on March 11th. Puerto Rico shut down on March 15th. That didn't leave us any room to get anything done.
At all.
We couldn't find attorneys. We couldn't find anything. We couldn't get to the courthouse. We couldn't do everything.
I can't even imagine. Wait, and this whole time your child is not with you?
Our son is not with us.
3-month-old.
We have no idea where he's at.
3-month-old.
For months.
He's 3 months.
He was 3 months at the time.
And not just that, but then the way that you guys were apprehended.
Exactly.
If I'm not mistaken, what was said was that they actually sent a SWAT team.
They came to our home around 4 p.m. and they were given we were barricading our home from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m.
And you guys are unarmed. Unarmed, a family. There's two of you. There's a 3-month-old.
Yes.
Right. No inherent danger.
And they break your door.
Home. No,
They
went and
they had entry into the
They
unit.
did break into the door twice.
So they broke your door. They went in your home and they apprehended you.
That's what we can't
Without
say.
a warrant.
And they apprehended
without a
you
court order.
Without a court warrant when I asked for it.
with long guns and like you guys were some sort of like
It was a raid for a 3-month-old. That is our child.
Look, man.
It was a raid to come get our child.
It
was a raid, and they had army people, and we're still out here with no charges. So what was the army there for? You get what I'm saying? What were they there for? Or what were they hoping to find to justify their actions?
And in the midst of this pandemic, they coming in and they're exposing themselves to this child who according to what they're saying is supposed to be delicate.
Exactly.
So if they are really considering this child to be delicate, then there should be delicate measures taken in apprehending the parents and whatever. It's just all just bizarre. It doesn't make sense, and it's very sad and it's a very tough situation.
And the most important thing for me is just recognizing that our case is not the only one. There are other cases. If you know it and you heard such and such child got taken and it didn't mean anything to you because it just was like, oh wow, that's sad to hear. Double back with that person. Ask if they need something. Give them a hug. You know what our people need.
That's right.
We know what we're going through. So just love each other. At the end of the day, what can you say against that?
Thank you guys so much. And let's bring young Messiah home.
Exactly. You go through the fire.
Let's go through the fire.
When they put it on you.
Exactly.
Have to.
Let's go through the fire.
You have to.
I'm not burning.
Fire.
Exactly.
We ain't burning. I feel good.
And we can't wait till young Messiah is back home with his family. I'd like to remind everybody that July 8th is the day that we will all meet at the tribunal in San Juan to make sure that young Messiah is reunited with his family.